Have you ever listened to the song Defying Gravity? Well, have you heard the version of that song from the American comedy drama series, Glee? I do not know what specific episode it came from, but I would say that it's one of my top favorite performances in Glee. I know that we all love to hate the show because of how cheesy it seemed to be, but I have to admit that the Defying Gravity performance was very good. In the show, the performance was a duet by Kurt and Rachel, characters played by Chris Colfer and Lea Michele. Both their voices were beautiful. I do not know what the plot was in that episode, but Kurt and Rachel seemed sad while singing the song, and that really made an impact on beautifying the performance. That performance was almost as good as the Don't Stop Believing performance by Finn and Rachel. I liked Lea Michele's voice because it has that pop-sounding Gabriella from High School Musical tone that works pretty well with a little auto-tune. Perhaps a fine bootleg of Demi Lovato's voice is what I'm trying to say. There was even a point in my life wherein I thought that Rachel Berry was played by Demi Lovato. That was back when I was still obsessed with Demi Lovato. Basically, she could easily sing for Disney nowadays. On the other hand, Chris Colfer's voice is also good. It's a unique voice for pop songs that really work well with auto-tune, kind of like Adam Levine's voice, except higher and more suited for ballads. Though if I remember correctly, Chris Colfer also performed a lot of non-ballad songs in Glee and they were also pretty good performances. Lea Michele's bootleg Demi Lovato voice and Chris Colfer's unique pop ballad voice work very well together, leaving us with a tremendous performance. Glee itself may not have aged well, but I'd say the Defying Gravity performance did. However, I discovered recently that there are solo versions of Defying Gravity for both Chris Colfer and Lea Michele. Now my question to you all is, which version would you prefer? I would always choose the duet version from the show, but that's not the situation here. Try choosing between Chris Colfer's version and Lea Michele's version. Alone, Lea Michele's version sounds like something performed in Broadway, because she sings the song like she's telling a story. That worked well in the duet. And on its own, Chris Colfer's version just sounds like a pretty generic pop ballad. The storytelling tone of voice that Lea Michele had when they sang together just made it better. Basically, when it's Lea Michele alone, it's missing the great unique voice of Chris Colfer. And when it's Chris Colfer alone, it's missing the emotional appeal of a stage performance tone that Lea Michele always had. So if I were to choose between the two, I'd choose Lea Michele's version. There's something about that Broadway-sounding performance that I like, giving Glee a better name than it deserves, I guess. I'd choose that over something that didn't really sound so unique, despite having Chris Colfer's great voice. But I guess we shouldn't compare them. The duet version from the show is pretty golden. If Lea Michele and Chris Colfer were to reunite and sing that again, it would be great. Although I do not really listen to music like this anymore, I'd still want to watch that performance, and only that performance. There aren't really other performances in Glee that I'd want to see again. How about you? What are your thoughts on the Defying Gravity performance by Chris Colfer and Lea Michele from Glee?